Hi, everyone. This is Catherine Carmignani with Mass Golf, and I'm joined by Jen Corcoran, one of the co-founders or the founding foursome of Grueter Golf. Thank you for joining me, Jen.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. All right, so let's get started. How would you describe Grueter Golf to everybody?
So, Grueter Golf is a community of golfers that is on a mission to get girls on the green, which you probably heard that one before. But how we do that is we're kind of trying to change the conversation surrounding golf and, dispel the myth that it's a stuffy sport for only old guys by creating content. We started as an Instagram account. So posting pictures of us golfing, our friends golfing, and members of our community golfing and videos and stuff. And also by hosting large scale events and small events that kind of are beginners welcome, no golf experience required, come out and have a good time, and hopefully you leave being as obsessed with golf as we are. So that's kind of Grueter Golf in a nutshell.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned, it started as a social account first, but at what point did you start changing direction and saying, all right, let's put something together? When did you feel comfortable, in your mission and the direction you guys wanted to head in?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of direction, we describe it a lot of times as like a runaway train. Like we literally started the Instagram account in April of 2017. And then we hosted our first event in September of that year, which was essentially like 12 of our girlfriends that we had made the Instagram account to make friend of my friend Kirsten, who didn't have an Instagram account at all. So I was posting these pictures of her golfing, and we had thought initially that we would only be going golfing a few times and would use pictures of like from that time, maybe like bring different outfits and make it seem like she was golfing all the time. But then it turned out that she was golfing all the time. We were all golfing all the time. Like it just took off. And so like our interest in it took off first. And so then our friends were kind of like, saying we want to come too. And we're like, okay, it'll be fun to get a few groups together. And we called that like our first outing. And then we continue to like have outings. We would do 2 per season, and we've kind of stuck with that schedule of like 2 big events per season. And by 1 year later, so in September of 2018, we went from 12 girls to 88 girls. And at that point too, there were a lot of people who were coming. Prior to that, it was, friends of friends and kind of word of mouth. You knew everybody kind of, or you knew who invited everybody, but in the fall of 2018, there were girls that came that had saw the Instagram account or found our website or heard about it through 5-Iron Golf, and they came alone. And we were like, okay, now we're on to something, because it's not just people coming because their friend drags them. Like, this is a good use of my time. And also, it's pretty expensive too, because we have to cover the cost of the round itself with carts plus food and everything. So it ends up being like, a day that's about $100, $120. And people were willing to pay that too, which that was kind of a vote of confidence. So it was like, okay, how do we kind of continue to we've gotten people interested in this. So how do we kind of get more people interested in it? So I'd say, yeah, that fall outing of 2018 was kind of like the dividing point and like, okay, this is actually real now.
That's really cool. And you talked a little bit about the fact that, it was friends of friends first, and then all of a sudden people were coming by themselves, which is a massive achievement. As women, sometimes it's uncomfortable to take that first class, go to the gym by yourself, things like that, yeah, that, shouldn't bother us too much, but it's that initial step sometimes. So, yeah. You mentioned some stigmas earlier too. What are some of those other barriers? How are you getting the women out there and kind of dispelling some of these things to make them, come out and join you?
Yeah, I think big part of it is because, the 4 of us kind of just started golfing now 4 years ago. But at that point, it was like we had just started golfing a year prior, and so we really came into it with like a major beginner's mentality. And we knew all the reasons why we hadn't started before, like primarily we weren't really invited, nobody had invited to go out golfing, and so that's like a major thing that like Grueter Golf is now like, listen, like now you're invited, like we're inviting you, like you should try it, you're obsessed with it. But nobody had really, I had worked on a golf course down Cape as a cart girl. And that gave me like some exposure to golf, but it didn't make me really want to play it because most of the patrons were, like guys, you know? So it wasn't, I never saw a group of girls around our age going out and, you know, drinking beers and just kind of like goofing around like how we do. So I think like the fun part kind of like comes first, you know, it's like make it look fun, make it look like it's not scary.
So you show a lot of these things through your social channels. You guys are super active right now. You know, as you're seeing all this growth, as you're seeing all the members join, ask about it. You know, you're taking lots of interviews now. You know, did you ever?
Lots of interviews.
Yeah, lots and lots of interviews. Thank you for joining us today. Did you think that you'd have some great success like this so quickly?
I mean, I am still kind of surprised every time like somebody, you know, texts us and is like, I just went golfing, because we're some of the people that like people will reach out to because they came to an event and then they follow up with you about, you know, that they go out alone or they go with somebody else and they like, so people taking it beyond just the events, I think is the greatest success, because they're going out and they're actually like, you know, becoming golfers, which is really cool. But I mean, we just started it being like, we want everyone to know that golf is fun because we wish we had known it sooner. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think we never really set any like concrete goals at the very beginning. As we've been able to kind of grow like as a company, I've marveled at the success, honestly. Like I never thought that we'd go to the PGA show. I never thought that, you know, would make it into Golf Digest, you know, like there have been a lot of really exciting, you know, milestones that if you had told me this like 5 years ago, I would have been like, you are absolutely insane.
Yeah,
So
we're just having fun with our social account and, you know,
yeah, it was a
posted about
goof, you know, it was a total joke before, which I think we still try to maintain like a certain level of that. You know, if you start taking it too seriously, like it'll get stressful. Like we haven't quit our day jobs yet. You know, just still very much doing it as a labor of love. And so hope we continue, you know, at least the spirit of that, but maybe making some money in the future.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you know, you're probably a spirit animal for a lot of women out there thinking, you know, I wish that this group was around when I had first started playing or considered playing or just needed some sort of active outlet. So you're definitely filling that void for a lot of people. And you know, we're just so glad that you're in the space now. But you know, we'll get back to Grueter in a little bit here, but I want to make sure, you know, we talk a little bit about your golf adventure so far, because you didn't start too long ago here, but you had said you worked in a cart barn out on the Cape. You grew up around it, but you didn't get involved till later on. Was there some sort of like aha moment or like a round or an experience that you were like, yeah, I'm sold, this is it?
It was probably actually the first time that I played with my friends. So I feel like I had gone out a little bit like here and there, but I don't remember like really loving it ever. I think I was always wildly frustrated whenever I go to a range because I would just like, I grew up playing a lot of sports. So I played field hockey, lacrosse. I was a competitive Irish step dancer. I did horseback riding, you know, like all sorts of just like different things. And I hated being bad at athletic pursuits. And so golf was something that you couldn't like just run faster or something, you know, and you can't necessarily just like hit it harder for you to be better at it. You know, you need to, there's a technique involved, and I never took the time to learn anything about it. So in fairness, like I didn't really deserve to be hitting the ball well. But yeah, it was when I went out with Haley and Kiki, who are two other members of the founding foursome. We were down the Cape at the course I used to work at. We went out with my younger sister and we just had a blast. It was really hilarious because we went out and we were really, really stressed out about pace of play. That was one thing that, you know, I understood, you know, we couldn't hold people up. It was a big deal. And so we were, even though we were in carts, we were still sprinting to our shots and trying really hard to just like forward motion, you know, that was the goal. Just like get it somewhere, you know, if you can. And, you know, I mean, chunks, misses, whiffs, like the works, but every time we made contact, we were like pumped. And it was kind of like that contact, you know, and we came back and we had so much fun, you know, because like we're best friends and it's a blast. And we came home and we were in my family's house, and I guess my dad heard us talking from upstairs about like how much fun we had. And one thing that we said was like, I think this is the most fun I've had with you guys sober ever. Um, so that was another thing. It was like, wow, like it turns out you can drink during this, but you don't have to. It can still be fun.
Yeah.
And then I also thought, I was 25 at the time, and I was like, people play this till they're like 80. So, give me 55 years and like I could be in the senior tour, So that like length of time, that span of like never ending time to improve, like just was very attractive to me. Obviously I understand now why like everyone's not in the senior tour. But like that seemed really cool to me. It was like, wow, like I can just do this for there's no age limit on this, golf till I die. After that one time, I was gonna golf till I died.
That's awesome. And that leads right into the next question. You probably already answered it, but what's that singular thing that you love most about the game now?
Now it's really just like getting to golf with different people. It's something that I think is unlike any other activity in that way. You can meet somebody and you like figure out that you both golf, or in my case, you don't golf, and I'm like, I need you to golf, So being able to bring people out, or go out with people, and also just like the variety of skill levels, like you can still, as long as you like as a beginner golfer understand, pace of play, like just not ruining everybody's day, you can really golf with anybody, as long as you kind of just like know your own game.
How has your game gotten better from running these events? Do you think that your game has gotten better? Have you had your struggles? Where are you at right now?
So I wouldn't necessarily say it's from running the events, because during the events we actually don't play anymore. We started out that we would all four of us play, and then running everything. Once they got bigger, it was just kind of too much for us to handle. So we don't play at the events, but I mean, we always say too, we play so much otherwise. We try to really get out there whenever we can. So I've gotten better. But I don't know if that's saying very much, because I started from like absolute zero, like really terrible. I think through like running the Instagram account, I may have picked up, some things, because I've watched a lot of swings. I went through like an obsessive phase where I was like trying to like slow down swings and watch those. So I think that's like actually helped a little bit. But I also have taken like, a handful of lessons, really like, it started out like once a summer, but now I'm kind of doing like twice a summer, and hopefully maybe this summer, depending on, what's going on, I'll be able to do a little bit more. But I think the lessons have always made like the biggest difference for me. But if we weren't getting a little bit better, it would be really sad for us, because we play a lot. So
Yeah. What kind of golfer would you categorize yourself as? It might be a junkie. You kind of sound like a junkie now with golf. Or are you playing on the weekends and after work? What's going on?
like, it's really just, I love it. I love everything about it. Even when it's, going poorly and I'm not playing well, really, really have a good time. So yeah, as many weekends as I can, usually every single weekend, in season, I'll try to get out there, unless I have like, a baby shower or something like that. And then around here, I live in Dorchester, and so I try to hit up Franklin Park, for the Twilight Nine whenever I can. I love it there. And I think the Twilight Nine is a nice little end of the day reward. I've done that a couple times during, this whole pandemic, and that's been a real nice time.
So golfing all the time, playing some unique courses around the state too. It sounds like, Franklin Park and, playing out at Ocean Edge, two very different experiences. Do you
Yeah.
do you have a favorite course or a favorite spot, beyond your
Um,
usual stomping grounds?
my favorite course probably is Highland Light in Truro, Massachusetts. When I'm down the Cape, I went there for the first time, I believe, last summer. And it's just like nothing else I've ever seen before. You're right on the water, like the whole, back four of of the 9-hole course has ocean views, and you literally feel like you just kind of found like a field that happened to be, kept up to be a golf course. And then we always go, we'll hit that on a twilight night too, so that you get kind of like a later in the day. And sometimes you're the only one out there, and it's a really, really beautiful place. I love Franklin Park. Like, I don't know if I just have a soft spot for it because it's probably the closest to my house, but, big fan of Franklin Park. I think it's like a fun course, but also, you see a lot of, like, it's one of the most diverse courses I've ever been to also, and that I think is pretty important, overall. So I like going there too.
So getting back to Grueter, how has COVID-19 changed that season in your plans for 2020?
Yeah, so I mean that's the really unfortunate part about. I mean, obviously there's so many unfortunate things about the whole pandemic, and I don't want to act like the Grueter Golf season being essentially canceled is the biggest deal. It's certainly not. But this year was really the year that we thought we were going to hit our stride. We had gone down to the PGA show. We had lined up a few really cool sponsors for our events, which had been a long-term goal of ours. And it's not looking like large, large events with 100 plus attendees is going to be the way the world's headed for a little while. So we're trying to figure out now, with golf itself still being a thing that you can do, but maybe just not in a party setting, how we can kind of connect people to golf with each other through Grueter Golf while not having it be a big, huge event. Our events, I think that really is kind of what sets us apart from most other golf organizations or brands, is just that, we have these big, huge, beginner-friendly events where you rent out the whole course, shotgun start, and, it's a party. But that's it's not really a place where you can social distance. I can't really envision the events happening in masks. It's just such a social and interactive time. So it's really changed at least this part of our season for us. I mean, if given the opportunity, maybe we'll be able to do something that's just a little bit different. But we're trying to figure that out right now, actually.
Yeah. No, it's a lot to think about, and things are changing constantly, and needing to partner with different courses and get things off the ground. There's a lot of planning that needs to be in place, so I can appreciate that you guys are probably constantly talking about this. But in the past, a lot of your events are based down in the New York City area. You've had a handful up in Boston, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Are there any plans to be doing more things in and around the Boston area because you're up here, or where are you seeing the areas of growth?
Yeah, so we were planning at the beginning of the season. We were planning to do an event in Boston, and then also do some events in Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Chicago, which are the 3 other cities, including New York, where we've expanded our membership. The membership has really just followed the cities that 5-iron golf has been in, because a major part of being a member of Grueter Golf is you get really great discounts at 5-iron, and so for a lot of people that justifies the cost of the membership, which right now is $150. So if you add up all of the discounts you get through different programs, then it's pretty good bang for your buck. But we had plans to be in Boston. We had not really gotten so far as to choose a course or anything. But last year we hosted a very small event because it was like terrible April weather at President's Golf Course, which I thought was a very Grueter Golf friendly course in Quincy, Mass. And so, would probably look there, really anywhere that wants to have us. We've kind of just flown by the seat of our pants in a lot of ways with this whole thing. And so when somebody comes to us with a good idea that's in line with what we're trying to do, then we usually say yes. So if anybody listening to this wants to host a Grueter Golf event, we could probably make that happen.
Yeah, no, that's a great plug there. I think the women only or women centric type events, beginner type events, are just super important to the game in Massachusetts. So I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, and us at Mass Golf would definitely want to further the conversation, see how we can partner up. But in this being a part-time endeavor for you, a passion for you, do you believe this is something you could be doing full-time?
I, it's an interesting question for me. I really love my day job too. I do real estate development and build mixed income housing, and I work for my family, who's definitely going to listen to this as my biggest fans. Shout out, hey mom, dad. And so it depends, kind of, if we could make a real go of it, and I think that there's definitely value in it. So it would all kind of depend on how that looked. But it's definitely a daydream at this point, that gets more real every time something big happens for us.
Good. Well, it doesn't sound like you're slowing down anytime soon, so it'll be a healthy balance for sure as you're continuing to grow this endeavor with your friends. What are some of the most frequently asked questions you've gotten from beginners or any individuals that want to be a part of Grueter Golf and the community you've created?
So for people who are, coming to an event or, coming out to really anything, a lot of people are asking us questions via Instagram. We get a lot of Instagram advice requests. The number one thing used to be, what I wear, because dress codes vary so much by different courses. We always host events at like very casual courses, and we've made them aware that, beginners are coming and don't expect them to, have all the gear. And so we'll usually say, leggings are fine, or if you have like an athletic skirt or any sort of athletic clothing that, looks kind of nice, you don't need a collar and you don't need, anything really super specific. And then people also ask about like where to buy clubs. We usually direct them to like eBay or something like that. But we've actually been talking to a company called Robin Golf, who seems to maybe have solved that issue. They developed this set of beginner clubs that I forget what the price point is, but it's definitely way lower than any of the other bigger names out there. And it all comes with a bag, and it's really being marketed towards beginners. It's like this limited set. So that might be one thing that I would throw out there to beginners. About the Grueter Golf community, we really started a membership portion because people were asking how to become members. We didn't really have the membership before. People kind of wanted to get more invested and more involved, and so we started the membership at the beginning of 2019, just in New York City, as kind of a social ladies golf club. Like I said, started at $150 a year. You got some discounts to Grueter Golf events. You got discounts at 5-iron golf, discounts with 4A golf, discounts, I believe, at Cut Golf and Imperial Hats, a few other pretty great brands. And so then we had a membership after people asked how to become members or how to kind of get more official in the community. And the membership has really been so much fun. It was really a collection of people who kind of just kept coming to the events and, wanted to kind of formalize, kind of commit to golf in a certain way, formalize their relationship with the game and kind of be incentivized and like to kind of feel like they're a part of something, so I think membership's been really, really fun. But yeah, I kind of spun that question into a membership question. But it was clothes and clubs in the beginning. That was it.
Well, I'm glad that it's expanded a bit and people are looking to join the community and be a part of it, and what you've created. What would be the one thing that you would want people to remember most about Grueter Golf?
I mean, I'd like to eventually think that we helped to move the conversation about growing the game and making the game more approachable for women. In a significant way. Obviously we're super small and, I don't think that we have like moved the needle in like a numbers way yet, but I think that if, what we've kind of put out there grows, then, girls, like maybe if I had seen Grueter Golf when I was in college, I might have started, I might have started sooner, or, somebody else who just never would have thought that they might have started golf or wanted to golf. If they saw it and they're like, hey, that looks like kind of a ball, and then they got, a lifelong hobby out of it, So I hope that we're kind of, introducing golf to people who never would have thought golf was for them, and that way kind of just like, I mean, I think the grow the game like tagline, because I also use that hashtag in all of our posts, so it gets a little bit tired and it gets a little bit you know, like contrite, but I think it's true that, you know, I think they talk about, you know, growing the tent and, you know, expanding and everything and just making it more approachable to more different types of people. And I hope that we're a part of that, because I do think that's important.
Yeah, no, that's massively important, and very obviously you ladies have done that already to date, and we're just really looking forward to following, your future success, and hoping we can help in any way that we can. Sorry, so tell everyone the good stuff. Where should people go to get more information about Grueter Golf, website, social media, all that stuff?
So Grueter Golf is spelled Grueter Golf, obviously, GOLF. So gruetergolf.com is our website, which actually just got a makeover a few months ago by the incredible Haley Hillsland. So definitely check that out. It's looking pretty good. We've got some merch on there. We also have the Instagram account, obviously, that started it all, at Grueter Golf. Throw us some likes. I have a theory that the algorithm is totally broken and, we should be getting thousands, but still in the low hundreds, which is fine. And we're also on Twitter and TikTok recently, which I am still trying to figure out. But we might be trying to do a little bit more content there as well. And yeah, honestly, anytime too, people can feel free to reach out on any of those channels, whether it's through the website, through the Instagram, Twitter. We always try to get back to people, and we really love like engaging with the community. So never want anybody to be shy.
That's great. Yeah, and with all the golf you're playing, I'm gonna have to get in touch and get out on the course with you at some
Yeah, we
point.
should get out there.
That would be super fun. No, thank you again for just taking the time and sharing the message of Grueter Golf and what you're doing for women in the sport of golf. It's super important. It's necessary, and it's fun. What you're doing is super fun. So we're just excited to be able to talk with you about it for a little bit. So thanks again.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Really, we're still surprised every time anybody wants to talk to us. So we appreciate it very sincerely.